At the start of the miniseries, we meet a former astrophysicist named Milo Roderick. He records a message from the ruins of a post-apocalyptic city, claiming that he is the last person on Earth. The action moves forward in time to 2016. The world is ravaged by war, disease, and poverty. In New York, a young boy named Milo is in a wheelchair and dreams of becoming a scientist. In Missouri, a farmer named Ricky Stormgren goes about his business. Suddenly, a giant spaceship mysteriously freezes in the sky and silently lands in a field. But this is just the beginning of mysterious events. Soon, mobile communications are disrupted all over the world and giant alien ships appear over dozens of major cities. People look up at the sky in horror and prepare for the worst. At the same time, all man-made aircraft crash to the ground without causing any destruction. Suddenly, the shocked people begin to see their missing relatives through whom Kal-El, Earth's overseer, communicates. Extraterrestrial intelligence in human form informs that they have come to eliminate war, famine, and inequality and usher in a utopia. The arrivals, nicknamed the Overlords, do not intend to conquer Earth. They have come to help humanity build the perfect world. However, people view this incredible news with skepticism. Do you believe in aliens? Would you try to resist their influence or submit to their superior intelligence? Share your thoughts in the comments. Ricky and his wife Ellie watch the news, which reports on a miraculous solution to every military conflict on the planet. The people of a Missouri town are concerned about the invasion, but Ricky, one of the local leaders, reassures the people and suggests calmly observing the unfolding events. In the evening, all the electrical appliances in Ricky and Ellie's house failed. Then the whole house started shaking, and the frightened couple quickly retreated to the basement with their dog. A green light shines through the cracks of the house, and soon an unknown force begins to dismantle the house into its smallest parts to reach Ricky. He steps out of the house and sees a giant alien drone. He agrees to go with the aliens, but asks that his family not be touched. Upon entering the alien spaceship, Ricky suddenly finds himself in a luxurious hotel room, where he was on his honeymoon with his late wife Annabelle. She died of cancer, and Ricky still struggles to cope with the loss, despite being in a new relationship. Suddenly, Kal-El's voice fills the room, offering Ricky the opportunity to act as a mediator between the overlords and the humans. Ricky does not want to be Kal-El's puppet and does not understand why he has been assigned this task. However, Kal-El insists on giving Ricky a mysterious object without explaining its purpose. Hearing that aliens have arrived in Missouri, reporters gather around Ricky's house. Government agent Paul Danlow also arrives in Missouri to learn the details of Ricky's conversation with Kal-El. Agent Danlow notices an alien artifact in Ricky's hands and demands that he hand it over for safekeeping. Ricky refuses and Danlow threatens him with a gun. By tricking the mysterious ship, Ricky unlocks it and suddenly, all diseases begin to disappear around the world. Ricky is then taken to the White House, where he tells reporters about his negotiations with Kal-El and the benefits of working with him. However, many people are still wary of aliens. Media mogul Hugo Wainwright believes that the aliens are much more cunning than they appear and decides to fight them. Wainwright secretly organizes a resistance group, the Freedom League, to reinforce the distrust of millions of people towards the overlords. Sometime later, Ricky reports to Kal-El about the state of the world and informs him that the Freedom League is becoming more and more aggressive. People fear being ruled by individuals who look like them, but Kal-El says that the aliens are not like humans. Meanwhile, one night, young Milo goes to find his mother, who likes to sniff the snow and is arguing with a drug dealer. Milo stood up for her and the dealer shot him. Suddenly, a beam of light appears from the sky, miraculously defeating the criminal and reviving Milo. The boy then miraculously gets up from his wheelchair and begins walking again. Later, on a television show, Wainwright mentions the incident regarding the alien punishment, but completely ignores the boy's miraculous healing ability. The host suggests contacting another alien victim. Peretta Jones is a devout girl whose mother decides to end it all because the lords have destroyed her faith. The girl fears that future generations will not know God, and the Freedom League uses her story as a further argument against the rule of the lords. Soon, Wainwright orchestrates Ricky's kidnapping and demands that he join the Freedom League. Ricky refuses, and they prepare to kill him, but suddenly Kal-El stops time and lets Ricky escape. It is later revealed that this kidnapping was broadcast on screens around the world. Kal-El allowed Wainwright's men to kidnap Ricky in order to discredit the Freedom League in the eyes of the public, showing that they are willing to use any means necessary. During a meeting with Kal-El, Ricky claims that he has finally shown humanity his true nature, but Corellin claims that they are not yet ready to accept his true form. Corellin reveals that they have not only helped the Earthlings, but have also ended their cooperation with Ricky, who is left shaken. Meanwhile, the news reports that Hugo Wainwright has died of his own free will. This marks the end of the resistance and the first phase of humanity's enslavement by the aliens. 15 years have passed. After graduating from college, Milo became an astrophysicist. The people enjoyed the gift of eternal youth and a paradise on Earth, but still awaited the meeting with the Lords, whom they called their guardian angels. Finally, the Lords decided to reveal themselves to humanity. A giant ship of the Lords appeared in the sky, and hundreds of thousands of spectators were eagerly awaiting the meeting with their benefactors. Meanwhile, Jake Gregson's family gathered around the screen so as not to miss the broadcast of this important event. The two children were sent on board to present themselves to Corellin in a solemn manner. They finally went out, but Corellin's appearance shocked everyone, like a demon. Will you change your mind about the Overlords because of Corellin's terrifying appearance, or will you judge them based on their kindness? Share your thoughts in the comments. The year is 2035. All of humanity has become a unified nation, living in peace and prosperity, free from disease and anxiety. However, for those who do not accept the new orders of the Overlords, only one free city remains, New Athens. In Africa, Milo works in a research institute with his friend Rachel, under the supervision of Dr. Boyce. However, Milo's latest project is stopped and he is forced to quit his job. Milo now wants to focus on studying the Overlords, who have revealed very little about themselves and their world to humans over the past 19 years. Peretta Jones still does not trust the Overlords. She studies a lot of documents and comes to the conclusion that Corellin is the devil himself, sending a false prophet in the form of Ricky. At night, Ricky's house is once again illuminated by a beam of light, leading him to the warehouse to meet Corellin. Ricky is surprised by his unexpected visit, but Corellin insists that he came to apologize and tell Ricky part of the truth. The next day, the world is in an uproar over why Corellin has returned to Ricky's farm. Dr. Boyce's African Research Institute is suddenly shaken by mysterious tremors. Rachel goes to the disturbed animal cage and notices that one of the monkeys has unusually bright eyes. The tremors subside and Dr. Boyce discovers a new room in the Institute building. He enters and sees a large, glowing Ouija board in the middle of the room, which according to religious beliefs is a tool of Satan. At night, an alien drone flies towards Jake Gregson's house and illuminates everyone with a green light. The light stops on Jake's wife Amy's stomach and the Ouija board is activated. Soon after, the drone flies away and Amy, agitated, begins to have visions. Suddenly, the parents notice that their son Tommy is missing. Jake finds Tommy in the shed, but the boy has changed significantly and now possesses extraordinary powers. After some time, Jake and Amy seek help from psychotherapist Peretta Jones and tell her about their son's strange behavior. During his conversation with Peretta, Tommy reveals that the Overlords often take him to a mysterious, remote place where he sees a giant eye and the earth is on fire. Suddenly, his story is interrupted by a terrible noise in his head. Tommy rushes into the house and nearly injures Peretta with his powers, deforming her cross. He then touches his mother's belly and says that the baby has stopped crying. But Amy is shocked and insists that she is not pregnant. In Africa, Milo and Rachel are concerned about the strange behavior of the animals and believe that it is somehow related to the selection of all species on Earth for the Overlords. However, Dr. Boyce advises them not to interfere with Corellin's affairs. However, Milo and Rachel are determined to discover the truth about the Overlords. Meanwhile, Ricky begins to feel severe pain in his hands, and at the hospital, he learns that he has cancer and is infertile due to the toxic hull of the spacecraft. Ellie hopes that Corellin will definitely help Ricky, considering all he has done for him. 4 months later, Jake and Amy find out they are having a daughter. Amy is thinking of a name for the baby, while Jake and Tommy are playing in the yard. Suddenly, Tommy asks his dad to call Jennifer, while Amy decides to call her daughter Jennifer. Then, at Corellin's behest, Dr. Boyce offers Jake a job in Africa and invites his whole family to a big reception. Arriving at the scene of the mysterious incident, Jake meets Milo, who informs him that Boyce didn't hire anyone else. Jake senses something is wrong and suggests that Amy leave, but first he needs to find Tommy. Soon after, Dr. Boyce approached Amy and informed her that Corellin wanted to see her. They took the frightened woman into a room with a Ouija board and forced Amy to touch it. This was Corellan's way of awakening Jennifer in the womb. He conveyed to her that she was not an ordinary human being and that she had to embrace her nature. One day, Jennifer would lead other children and save the planet. The next day, Corellan comes to Ricky's house again and offers him a device that can cure him. Suddenly, Peretta bursts into the barn, which has been living near the farm for a while, and accuses Corellan of lying. Corellan admits that Ricky's infertility is his fault. Ricky doesn't understand what he did to deserve such punishment, but Corellan insists that not having children will save them from immense suffering. A terrible day is coming, when those who have children will have a much harder life. Unable to bear Corellan's words, Peretta suddenly grabs a gun and shoots him, but Ricky uses his mysterious device to heal Corellan's wounds. Dr. Boyce realizes that Corellan intends to bring animals to his planet for a reason. Like Noah, he builds his ark in anticipation of an impending disaster. At night, Peretta sees the ghost of her mother and falls from the balcony accordingly. Soon, Amy gives birth to a daughter whose eyes glow a terrifying blue. For more years passed, Ricky still suffered unbearable pain. One day, Corellan reappeared at his house and explained that the Lords were tasked with changing the course of human evolution. Corellan offered to help Ricky, but he was so angry about her infertility that he refused and asked her to leave. Suddenly, all the children on Earth began to exhibit advanced psychic abilities and an inexplicable mental connection with each other, all the while repeating Jennifer's name, raising their hands, and looking upward. Milo, who has spent the past few years studying the new children, discovers that they have increased metabolisms and brain activity. They also possess incredible cognitive abilities and a talent for telekinesis and telepathy. Milo is convinced that it all started with Jennifer and that she is the key to everything. The Gregson family sees dozens of children waiting outside their home, waiting to see Jennifer. Jake decides to travel to New Athens, hoping that this will help weaken the Overlord's influence over them. However, soon all the children begin to hear the call of a being known as the Overmind, which they obey without question. The Gregson family travels to New Athens, where everyone continues to live their normal lives. The family meets the town's mayor, Jerry Hallcroft, who promises to help them. However, even here the children hear the Overmind and are willing to follow Jennifer. Soon, Milo contacts Jake and explains that his daughter is a conduit for a force that affects all the children in the world. He wants to ask Jennifer a few questions. However, Jennifer terrifies Milo to no end, and his eyes reflect the explosion of the Earth. Milo realizes that the Earth is in danger and decides to secretly travel to the Overlord's planet with a group of other zoo animals. He asks Rachel for help, but she doesn't want to lose Milo because his journey will take 80 Earth years. However, Rachel ends up helping Milo by putting him in a state of stasis before taking him to the Overlord's planet. Before falling asleep, Milo gives Rachel a pendant with a hieroglyphic that means love. Meanwhile, Ricky continues to fight his illness. His condition worsened significantly and the blood vessels in his body became severely inflamed. Ricky lost consciousness and found himself in the bridal chamber once again, reliving his best moments with Annabelle. Corellan entered the room and offered Ricky the chance to stay there forever with his beloved. However, Ricky bitterly realized that it was all fake and demanded that the chamber be destroyed. With a heavy heart, Ricky returned home and ended his life in Ellie's arms. The Gregson family goes to the movies and enjoys an old-fashioned comedy. Suddenly, the show is interrupted and Jennifer speaks up, saying that it's time. Corellan's face appears on the screen, speaking to humanity one last time. It announces that the golden age of humanity is coming to an end. Children no longer belong to adults. They will soon shed the vestiges of their humanity and begin a new life. From now on, we'll not have any children born on Earth, and adults will be able to live their lives as they wish. All the children raised their hands and looked up. Suddenly Jennifer jumped off the ground and flew away. Her parents panicked and tried to stop her, but it was impossible. Soon, other children around the world followed Jennifer. Jake and Amy begged Tommy not to leave them, and suddenly he fell to the ground, even if only for a moment. Tommy explains that Jennifer allowed him to say goodbye to his parents, but now he must join the other children. Meanwhile, Jerry Hallcroft realizes that without children, humanity cannot be saved and decides to destroy New Athens with a nuclear bomb. Jake tries to convince him not to do it, but Jerry is determined. He hopes that after it's over, they will all be able to see their children again. For Jake and Amy, their final moments are to confess their love for each other before the horrific explosion. The Overlord's spaceship finally approaches a giant, fiery planet and Milo emerges from suspended animation. One of the Overlords greets Milo and shows him his home planet. Milo also learns that they have been traveling for 40 years and now wants to know what happened to Earth during those years. The Overlord claims that everything that happened to Earth was planned long ago by the Overmind, the creator of everything in the universe. The Supreme Lords have been communicating with him for 100,000 years and have been modifying the world according to his instructions. Now it is Earth's turn. Milo wants to know everything and asks to meet the Supreme. He finds himself in a white space and sees a mysterious orange figure, which is the Supreme. The so-called God says that only children can evolve into a single consciousness, while the rest of humanity will end. The orange figure then transforms into multiple copies of Rachel and Milo. When she wakes up, Milo asks to be taken back to her. 45 years later, the ship approaches the lifeless Earth again. Corellin informs them that they have transferred Rachel onto the ship and asks Milo to meet her. Milo only sees Rachel's lifeless body. Suddenly, he takes her pendant and Rachel's body shatters into pieces. The pendant that left a burn mark on Milo's hand has the hieroglyph love. Milo realizes that he is the last human in the universe and desperately asks Corellin to take him back to Earth because he cannot bear such loneliness. Milo also promises to report back to the aliens about the last days of Earth for scientific purposes. We see the scene where the story begins. Milo addresses the Lords and asks them not to forget humanity. Soon, he saw Jennifer continue to suck energy from everywhere, and the ground under her feet began to collapse. At the last moment, Milo asked to preserve the memory of human culture, and Corellin chose the music of her childhood. Milo welcomed the end of the Earth's existence. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.